I'm Mon Valley Independent Sports Editor Jeremy Salou.
And I'm Mon Valley Independent Assistant Sports Editor Jose Negron, and you're watching MVI Live.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fab 15 Soccer All-Star Awards, sponsored by the Mon Valley Independent and B Graphics. Again, I'm Sports Editor Jeremy Salou.
I'm Assistant Sports Editor Jose Negron.
And real quick, before we get into things, a little disclaimer. All the awards that you're going to see tonight and all of the All-Star teams that will be unveiled for everybody in attendance, you will not know who they are until tomorrow. All the awards were tabulated from nominees and suggestions by not only the Mon Valley Independent sports staff, but also we asked all the coaches to give their nominees for players that they deserve recognition, and we asked them each to nominate somebody either from their team or other teams for awards, which I'd say for Players of the Year was very close this year all around. But we kind of went with a majority of who the coaches and staff members thought deserved the awards, and that's how we come about with the winners for this thing. So just real quick, my takeaway of the season overall is how successful a lot of our teams were around here and the influx of talent we had. I know we're going to talk about our newcomers of the year, but there are a lot of young talent in the Mon Valley. And just watching how soccer has just kind of exploded around here is probably close to being the top sport here in the Valley when it comes to each team's success.
Yeah, and I think for me, my biggest takeaway on the boys' side, Elizabeth Forward boys, I know Doug Finke's back there.
He's there.
The Elizabeth Forward boys gets it done this year. They get to the semifinals in the WPIAL in Class 2A. I know that they've been building that program the last few years, and they've been building to this point. So it was nice to see them get to where they were able to get to and have the type of success that they had.
And another interesting thing is this is the first cycle of the new realignment. So, we have a couple of Bell Vernon players here, obviously. We could talk to them about how much of a grind their section is, and they still managed to come out on top as a section champion for the second year of a row. So I really think just overall the quality of soccer is so good here in the Valley, and we're glad we have the opportunity not only to watch all these teams and get to know all these players, but really get to go out and see quality soccer all year round.
Right, and we cover it 4 days a week. I know a lot of people say that we shouldn't be covering soccer 4 days a week, but we don't listen to that. Yeah. Very, very exciting year, and really excited to talk to some of our award winners tonight.
I think those people would have a real hard time in this room right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
So.
With no further ado, we'll get to our first award. The format we're going to do here is the girls. We will do the awards. We'll do a couple quick interviews, and then we will unveil our all-star teams, first team and then second team, and we had a few honorable mentions as well of people we wanted to recognize. So other than that, you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, and first up will be the girls' top newcomer or newcomers award, I guess I should say.
Yeah, plural.
Yes, and we'll get right back with them. All right, we're back here with our top newcomers award on the girls' side, and hello to Bella Corrado and Mekenna DeUnger. Everybody calls her Boots, so we're going to call you Boots. Just real quick, girls, how cool is this that you guys get to share this award with each other, considering the season you guys had together?
I think it's really amazing, considering we have a connection, and we've been playing together since we were so young, and we had a really good season together, and I know I couldn't have done anything without her, so it's really good that we both
a girl of few words.
Yeah. For you guys to be able to joined the high school team. Obviously, in middle school, you had a lot of success. But what was kind of the biggest challenge of adjusting from middle school soccer to high school soccer?
Our biggest challenge was definitely not having any experienced girls. It was mainly us two and our defender that played cup. No one else really had any experience. So
Yeah, but big thanks to those girls that came out and we wouldn't have a season.
I was gonna say, so you
without-
could have a team.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
we
most
could have a
important thing,
team.
right? What was the hardest thing? Not only do you have the excitement of getting to finally be on the high school team, I'm sure it's something you look forward to, as you're winning all the games in middle school and knowing good things are ahead. But what was the most difficult thing having to deal with COVID and not being able to get together to practice and things of that nature?
Probably because we didn't get to start until close to the season started. So we obviously didn't get as much practice for some girls, and we didn't have a lot of experience. So
yeah, and some girls didn't even get the chance to come out because they didn't know.
yeah.
I know we've had newcomers of the year in the past that have gone on to win player of the year. So in 2 years, are you guys going to be co-players of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction. Well, anyways, thank you guys for coming and joining us here at the show, and congratulations. You two deserve it. I think you guys combined for 48 goals.
48 goals.
Each of you were among the Whippeal leaders in goals, only as freshmen. So that's it's a great accomplishment. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank our coaches and teammates too.
Yeah.
All right. And next up, we will do our Girls Defender of the Year. Okay, and we're back here with our Fab 15 Girls Defender of the Year, Adeline Guess from Bell Vernon. So, Adeline, congratulations.
Thank you.
The biggest thing I want to ask you is you were kind of forced to take on more of a leadership role this year on the back line after Marissa graduated last year. How much did you take into account that leadership role for the team?
It's obviously going to be kind of scary because Marissa was such a presence in the back, and
Right.
I had to fill those roles, and it was very hard, but my team helped me, and we got it done.
You guys were able to play in a really tough section this year. A couple tough games against Connellsville, Ringgold. Just those tough teams that were in that section. How much did that kind of challenge you guys as you went through the course of the season?
I mean, in previous years, we've had a pretty easier section where we've won games 7-0 and all that. I like it better when we have more of a competition that prepares us for playoffs. I like games with Connellsville, the double overtime game. It keeps it exciting and more interesting.
Playing with Coach Lovett and playing with so many great players like you do, how fun is it for you as a defender to get the chance to make the runs up on the sideline, or have a chance to score on a free kick with the leg that you have? How much fun is it that you get to play an offensive role sometime in the system you guys play?
We have such a strong forward. We have 4 strong forwards Farrah Reeder, Jillian Butchki, Izzy Larita, and Morgan Eidenchofer. It's great when I get to score because it's no one really expects it because everyone else scores, and then I get to score and they're like, oh, she can score too.
I know you've grown up in a big soccer family, growing up with all your brothers playing soccer. How did that kind of help you kind of prepare for what you've experienced throughout your high school career?
I've played for Century since I was 7, so I've had experience with soccer my whole life, and my family always supports me. So
how cool is it now? I mean, obviously your brothers are playing in college, and Cam's punting for the Pitt football team, and you look like you're on your way. How cool is it to just be a part of such a close-knit family that gets to have soccer kind of as the center of everything?
It's really fun. I'm so proud of Cam and everything he's doing. I don't know, I love my family.
And just last but not least, the thing, you win this award, but you still get to come back next year. And I know the season didn't end on such a great turn for you guys. It's always hard to lose when you lose in penalty kicks. But how much motivation does that put forth going forward next year for you?
Oh, we're ready for next year. We have conditioning and all that through the winter and through the next spring, which we're going to come back. We're going to win big.
Okay. Well, again, congratulations on winning this award. A lot of people have thought very highly of you. You got a lot of votes for this award. Obviously, you were such a big part of the team, taking over that leadership award, so it's very well deserved.
Thank you.
All right. Congratulations to Adeline Guess. And next up, we'll have our girls goalkeeper of the year. Okay, we are back with our girls goalkeeper of the year, Madison Sippy from Thomas Jefferson. Madison, congratulations.
Thank you.
The first question I want to ask you is similar to what I asked the girls earlier. For you as a goalkeeper, what was the biggest challenge this year that you had to go through?
Well, it's definitely our young team. We had 7 girls graduate last year, and we had so many roles to fill, especially in defense. We lost 2 of our starters. So our starting defensive line consisted of 2 freshmen, a sophomore, and a junior. So managing them and having them lack the experience was definitely a challenge, but they adapted well every single game.
I know you were one of, I believe, 3 seniors on the team. I mean, how much did you kind of embrace taking on a leadership role with a young team like this?
Well, me and the other 2 seniors were all 3 captains for this year, and again, with such a young team, we just had to step up and be those leaders, especially with everything that we've gone through this year.
Right.
Obviously, the top half of your section is really heavy with quality opponents, quality players, and not only playing against them, but also coming in with Coach Richter as his first year. Were there any challenges, or how easy was the transition there to not only play under a new coach, but also, play against such tough teams and watch your team have the success they did?
Well, ever since the winter, we try to do voluntary practice 1 to 2 times a week, and that definitely helped. But our play style from last year to this year is completely different, and we knew what we've been preparing for. We knew we had to step up and face Plum and Oakland Catholic especially. And I think with all the time that we lost this year, we adapted really well.
2 games in particular where you came up really big. The South Fayette game, the Oakland Catholic game, you had 2 really big penalty kick saves. What was kind of going through take me through those 2 opportunities? What was kind of going through your mind during those 2 games and those 2 chances in really big section games?
Well, I haven't had the best experience with penalty kicks in the past, so over the practices we've been practicing those, and as soon as they came up, I'm like, there was a second in my mind where I had some doubt, but then I was like, okay, I'm prepared for this, I'm ready, and then I just focused in and knew what I had to do.
How cool is it for you two to know that, I personally didn't get to see any of your games this year, but, a lot of the people that nominate these awards, they didn't really either. How cool is it to know just by, reading our paper or seeing the stories online and stuff, that, other coaches, you stuck out to them as somebody deserving of this award?
Yeah, it's really cool. I think overall as a team, we kind of fly under the radar and we're not talked about very much, but this year I think we got a lot of recognition, and I know everyone as a team, it's really cool to see.
Okay, well, again, congratulations on winning this award. Again, it's very well deserved as all the others, and, good luck in your future.
Thank you.
And next up, we will have Andrew Dyson, our Coach of the Year. And we are back with our Fab 15 Girls Soccer Coach of the Year, Andrew Dyson from South Allegheny. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
The biggest thing we want to know, and we've been watching kind of all year, is what was the biggest ingredient that you guys had this year that allowed you to take I think no win in the section and 3 wins overall to making the playoffs this year?
One of the big things was we had 9 freshmen come in this year into AA soccer. We changed sections. We were in a tough section last year. This year completely changed for us, so that did help us out a good bit. But all the girls just stepped up as a team, from the seniors the whole way down to the freshmen. That was the biggest thing for them.
Coach, I know Olivia Stetz was injured for a good portion of last year, and that kind of played a role in some of the struggles, but how big was it to be able to have her for a full year healthy and kind of lead the way offensively for you guys?
That was a huge thing. We lost her to a knee injury, so that was something that we didn't know really how that was going to go for her last year into preparing for this year, but we were able to adapt to her system. The whole team was able to adapt to a whole new formation, to where I changed it to where we were attacking a lot more compared to last year.
Obviously, you don't want to end the season with a loss, like you did in the first round of the playoffs to Brownsville. But how much like you said, you have such a young team. How much do you preach to them that, the strides they made this year, leading ahead, and how much that's going to help them moving forward?
I preach that every day, because we're already starting back up November 22nd. We're doing an indoor league for 6 weeks, and then we're going into tournaments, playing indoor. And then the spring season, I tell them every day how much it helps them. Whenever COVID happened, the big thing we did, we went to online. Everything went online. We did workouts online, everything. And then whenever we were finally able to get back out onto the field, they stepped right into it and transitioned perfectly for us.
Coach, I knew a lot of the bigger games that you guys played in this year, you transitioned from playing near the high school to actually being able to play at Glassport Memorial Stadium. What was that kind of like to be able to play some of those bigger section games where you knew a lot of people were going to come out, in that type of environment?
That's a big change because normally we play right after school.
Yeah.
And that's hard for the kids even just to step out onto the field and play right after school, depending on when their lunches are, things like that. It kind of messes with them, but they're not really into the game. They're still thinking about school. Them able to go home, sit down a little bit, do their schoolwork, and then go in and play a game. It's a huge difference for them.
Right.
Just the last thing, you see the success that the South Allegheny softball team has had, and the volleyball team's in the playoffs this year, and now you guys get in the playoffs. How much does that help when it comes to getting more girls to come out to see a successful team and, build your numbers up a little bit?
It helps a lot. I mean, that's one of the driving forces is in a smaller school, you have to deal with that situation. You have to be able to adapt to the players that you have. You have to be able to decide what you're going to do offensively, defensively in those situations. And with us, it's something that's tough to fight with the volleyball team for players, but we deal with it.
All right, Coach. Well, again, congratulations on this award and the season you guys had. I know it was special for you as a coach, to have the turnaround that you guys did, and obviously a lot of people recognize that as well. So.
And just to thank a couple people, I just want to thank the school administration as well as my players this season because they bought into my system.
All right. Congratulations again. Well deserved. And next up, we'll have a special presentation for the Girls Leadership Award. All right, we are back, and before we get to the special presentation for the Leadership Award, we're joined by Ed Rosensteel, the president of the Caitlin Moe Rosensteel Scholarship Foundation. Ed, thanks for coming down.
I appreciate you guys having me today.
The biggest thing when I talked to you last year about naming this award for Moe and after the tragedy that happened, one of the things you talked about was how you do your scholarship now for all the WPIL. You encompass for one of the top players there, but you really like the idea of getting to localize this since you're a Valley guy and it gets our Valley girls some recognition. Just what does that mean to you to be able to do that?
To be part of this, I mean, the Valley is important to us. Moe was born here. All my kids were born here, and we moved for a little bit, but we came back home. And we came back home because the Valley is home. Right. So being part of this, and you talk to people outside in the soccer community about their value of what they think of the Valley players. I had a coach a couple months ago told me if he could have 11 players from the Valley, he would take them all, and he probably would win every game because there's something different about the kids in the Valley. We all have a chip on our shoulder. When we play each other, it gets a little physical. But
for sure.
When the game's over, everybody gets up, dust off, and, we move on. And then when that team goes outside the Valley to play another team from the section, like, an Oakland Catholic was brought up earlier, the Valley cheers for that team. Right. They want to take them down. They want to see South Allegheny take that team down. They want to see a Charleroi go take a GCC down. I've been in that side of it, on the other side, actually.
Right.
But anyway, to be able to this be part of the Valley, when we did come back, it was only for 2 years for Moe in high school, but she was accepted very quickly, obviously, in the Ringgold community. And then also just the community as a whole. And as we found, after everything that happened, the Valley had us. Right. Being that we both work at the hospital, my wife and I, and like you said, your mom, the hospital had our back. And the people of the Valley had our back. So for us, her name to be on something like this and to share it with the community and the soccer community, it means the world to us.
What does it mean to you to see a young lady who is a Ringgold student be honored with this award?
It means a lot. My wife and I both graduated from Ringgold. Obviously, Mo did, and Clay's there right now. And to see Abby be able to get the award, and it's blue and gold, and it's the Rams, and it means a lot. I'm sure Mo would be proud of her. So,
all right, we'll be right back, and you'll get to present her with that award, and we'll talk to her.
Yep.
All right, and we are back. We are joined by the Mo Rosensteel Leadership Award winner, Abbigale Whaley. So, Abby,
congratulations on the Leadership Award, honey.
Thank you very much.
Yep. The first thing I'm going to ask you, Abby, is what does it mean to you to win an award after Mo, who, played on the team that you're now on just 2 years ago?
It means so much to me. I never got the chance to actually play on the team with her, but we had some summer practices that I was able to go to, and just playing with her, playing with someone that was bigger than me and that roughed me up a little bit, it just helped me to move forward and just realize that I'm going to need to work a little bit harder if I want things that I'm thinking of.
How much did you enjoy being a leader on this team this year?
Oh, I loved it so much. We have some young girls that came up this year that really had to step up and just help our team out. And just leading this team and seeing that they wanted to work and they wanted to push each other to achieve our goals was just amazing.
You mentioned, whether it was Mo pushing you around or now Coach Olivia pushing you around a little bit. I will say you were highly recommended for this award by her. There came a point in the season, it was the Bell Vernon game, where you moved up in the formation. You weren't just a defender, and you got to create a little bit. What's it like getting to play for a coach, willing to sacrifice you being in the back line, for the betterment of the team and letting you put your skills on display a little bit more?
It means a lot that she has that trust in me and that she has that trust in the rest of our players, that she'll take me out of the back line so that we can try to make something work in the offense, that she has the trust in our other defenders to hold that down back there while I'm up trying to make it work for our team.
What's the future of this program hold for you guys? I mean, you guys took so many strides this year. You were able to, obviously you qualified for the playoffs. You unfortunately weren't able to play in it. But how motivated are you guys going forward for the rest of the, going into next season?
We're so motivated. We have some more girls coming up this coming year that are going to help us a lot. And the whole of our team, we want to work. We want to work so hard. We want to push each other just to achieve more goals, achieve more of our goals and just so many things and push through the next section next year.
Again, we want to thank Ed Rosensteel for coming out to join us here for the presentation. It's awesome that we get to award this every year, and obviously for you being a Ringgold Ram to win it, it was awesome to have that nomination and couple of votes. So congratulations to both of you and Ed for everything you do for the soccer community around here in the Valley.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank all my coaches and my team and just everybody from Ringgold that just made this possible this year, that worked for it.
All right, and next up we have one more award before we unveil the Fab 15 All-Star teams. So stick with us. We'll be right back. We are back with our Fab 15 Girls Player of the Year, Jillian Butchki from Bell Vernon. Jill, congratulations.
Thank you.
Just the first thing I want to know is how easy or difficult is it to play with a team loaded with offensive talent between you, Morgan, Izzy up front? I know you had some talented midfielders as well this year. How easy was it for you, when you all have that connection on the field together?
It definitely makes playing a lot easier when you have a lot of people that you can connect with on the field, both assisting and goals. We've been able to produce a lot on the field, and being able to pass, it's super cool to have all that connection.
You're only the fourth BVA girls soccer player to get to 100 career goals. What kind of does that mean to you to be a part of history like that?
It really means a lot, being able to do that. Coming into the season, that was one of my main personal goals, was to hit that. Obviously, I didn't want to focus on it too much. It was mostly just being with the team and winning. Like, if I didn't score, it was fine. If I scored 4, it was fine. But when I did hit it, it was super cool.
I would just say, what's going through your mind when you're going to Uniontown? It's a team that you guys should, handle rather easily. But is it still a little nerve-wracking knowing that I need this many goals to get to that point. Were you nervous at all getting ready for that game?
Yeah, I definitely was. In the first half, I scored 2, so I was like, okay, I need one more. And it has actually kind of made it hard for me. Like, trying to get that last one, I struggled a little bit. So it was definitely made me more nervous knowing that I had to get it.
What would you say you learned the most over 4 years of being a starter, being one of the stars of this program and being one of the stars of this team?
Definitely that you have to play every game 100% like it's your last. I've grown so much over the past 4 years from playing on the field with different players and everything, but I've definitely grown so much.
So the last question I want to ask you is, I also know you're a very good dancer. How much does that help you, when you're playing a sport where you use your feet so much and your balance and everything? How much does that help you?
It helps a lot, like more than you would think, especially with balance and coordination on the field. And it works both ways. Both dance helps soccer and soccer helps dance. So it's been cool being able to do both simultaneously.
Right. All right.
You got nothing else for her?
I don't think so. You got anything else for her?
I don't. Just overall, just recap of how fun your career has been. From the time I remember watching you as a freshman. You're tiny out there, but you're flying up and down the field, and watching how much more physical your game got as you got to be a senior. Just recap your just overall career at Bell Vernon.
Yeah, it's coming in as a freshman, I was definitely more timid. And through the years, the older seniors, they would help me, and now I've been able to step into that role of helping the younger girls be able to grow. But I've definitely stepped up in terms of my physicality and strength on the field, and it's been a really cool 4 years, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
All right. Well, again, congratulations. It's a well-deserved award. You guys had a great season, even though it ended in a bad way. But it's been great watching you over the last 4 years.
Thank you.
All right. And now that we're done with handing out our awards, we'll get to what everybody is tuned in for, and we'll unveil our Fab 15 All-Star teams. we're back, and that's a look at our Fab 15 first team girls all-star squad. And Jose, who stood out for you on that team?
Well, two Thomas Jefferson Jaguars here on the first team. Of course, Madison Sippy, our goalkeeper of the year. But I think Ava Lutz is the one that really stood out to me. She was, and Coach Richter, said it to us whenever he nominated her, for the team. She played wherever she needed to play. She was one of 3 seniors. She did whatever was necessary in order to help the team win. She knew that this was a young group. She basically gave up maybe what was expected to be a season where she was going to score a ton of goals, and she didn't really score too many goals, but she took on a leadership role and really was a big player for them. I believe she was tasked with marking that key player every game, and she shut them down. Who stood out for you?
For me, it was those Bell Vernon girls. Honestly, I mean, when we had our discussions after we got all the nominations, and there was discussion about every one of those girls as potential for Player of the Year. When the votes were tabulated, it came out to Jill. But yeah, I mean, you got Butchki, Adenshofer, Izzy Larita, who obviously gave the team a boost when she returned this year after last year. So those 3 girls, though, obviously Jill talked about it a little bit. The connection they have, even though Izzy missed the season last year, when she came in, it still went smooth. I mean, there was, touches back and forth each other. They all knew where each other was going to be in the formations, and they just put up crazy numbers, like Bell Vernon usually does. So that's what really stood out for me. Of course, we have Adeline Guess on there, our defensive player of the year as well. So there was four out of the 15 girls were from Bell Vernon, by far leading the way in the first team.
Yeah. And we will take a look at the second team All-Stars.
And there's a look at our second team All-Stars, and I'll kick off a quick recap of what really stood out to me, and that was Charleroi freshman Taylor Ramsdale. I know we talked all season long, attending a few of their games. Ramsdale was pretty much on an island back there, leading the way for the defense, and just a lot of the way that Bella and Boots offensively, it was Taylor leading the defense, coming in with the experience of playing cup soccer. So she really stood out to me, in the second team. But again, she had to lead that unit. She was the big leg on goal kicks. They started a freshman keeper as well in Addison Conrad. So them two having a relationship as classmates helped a little bit. But Ramsdale was the one kicking the goal kick. She was the one, that had to do everything she could to keep the other team away from their goal, because like Bella and Boots said in their interview, there was so much inexperience, which next year that shouldn't be as much of an issue.
Yep. But
there was just so much inexperience, and COVID took away their time together. So, she really had to step up as a leader for the Cougars.
Yeah, and for me, it's the South Allegheny girls that are here on this second team. Paige Allen and Alyssa Kirkwood join their teammate Olivia Stetz, who's on the first team. Paige Allen, a great season for her, was one of the top scorers. I know Alyssa Kirkwood really made her presence felt in every game. I covered them a couple times this year, especially against Elizabeth Forward. She was just dominant in the midfield. She was basically everywhere. Against Keystone Oaks, same thing. Right. So I think that the fact that South Allegheny had 3 players on first and second team really speaks to what they were able to do this year.
And if I remember correctly, I don't think they had any last year.
I don't
they
recall.
They
might have had one or two
honorable mentions, but yeah. I mean, and we talked to Coach Dyson about that, just the job they did, and the girls sports they do have a winning culture already there at South Allegheny, and they're getting that now with the soccer program, which is only going to help attract more players to it.
Right. And it's really like looking through this group, a very, very talented group, first and second teamers. Just a very, very good, solid compilation of players.
Right,
here.
and it's cool when we pick these teams too. As much as the all-section teams, when they come out, and the all-WIPIAL teams, they match kind of where we see our players that are on those lists. They usually end up on the first team. And we say it every year, but these teams aren't. I mean, as much as it has to be a first team and second team, it's 1A and 1B.
Right.
I mean, there's just so many. We cover so many districts. There's so many great players here in the Valley that, don't feel slighted because you're a second teamer, because it's 1A and 1B.
Absolutely. Congratulations to all the girls who made it onto our first team, our second team, and to our honorable mention. Now we're going to take a look at the boys' side.
All right, we are back at the Fab 15 Soccer All-Star Award Show. I am Mon Valley Independent Sports Editor Jeremy Salou.
I'm Assistant Sports Editor Jose Negron.
And we are joined by our boys' top newcomer, Jake Chambers from Charleroi. Jake, congratulations.
Thank you.
The first thing I want to ask you is, coming in as a freshman, what was the biggest challenge you faced starting out on the varsity team?
Probably coming from middle school to high school, it was a lot more physical than I intended it to be, but it was really nice coming up and having all the older kids guide me through it. But it was good.
As a middle schooler, you kind of look at the success that the program's had over the last couple years. I mean, was it exciting to know that you were kind of going to be a part of something like that?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, but last year we lost, I believe, 9 seniors, so it was going to be a different program than it was in the past, but I was excited to fill in for everybody that left.
What's it like getting to play on a team? I mean, even though you lost all those seniors, you still have so much talent, even with your group of classmates that came in. What's it like getting to come to practice and to work every day, playing with a team of that caliber skill?
Yeah, I knew we were going to be pretty good this year. Coming from we had a really good middle school season with our boys, and there was about 5 or 6 of us coming up that I knew we were going to be really good. I just didn't know how well we were going to fit with the older guys, but it seemed to match pretty well.
You were tasked right away with leading and directing that defense. Was that kind of something that you were excited about, or were you kind of nervous about it, coming in as a freshman to do something like that?
Yeah, I was excited at first and then a little bit nervous because I had never really played defensive line before. I've always played center midfield most of my career, but it was pretty exciting.
The last thing I want to ask you about is, what is Coach DeColley's biggest pet peeve that you guys
Where is he?
kind of tend to torture him with as much as possible?
Probably.
Short jokes?
Yeah, definitely.
I can't even see him. That's how short he is.
he's back here. See, there's a little background here. I had to have a procedure done at the hospital one day, and he felt it was okay to take selfies that day with me in the same-day surgery room. So I remember that. I remember. But, yeah, just last but not least, you're only a freshman. You're still going to have 3 years of high school. You're still going to have a talented squad. What are your goals over the next 3 years in your high school career?
Definitely next year, I feel like winning the section will be a little bit easier than it was this year from all the freshmen moving up and having more experience. But the main goal is making it past first-round playoffs again.
Do you feel like this is just the start of another successful, couple years for the Charleroi program you guys are going to kind of build off this year?
Yeah, I definitely feel like we're going to have a good group moving up, especially when I'm a junior or senior. We're going to have a really good group, and I feel like we're going to go pretty far.
All right. And that's all we got for you, Jake. So congratulations. The award is well-deserved. Coach spoke very highly of you in his nomination, and there were a couple other coaches that reached out and saw your performance. So congratulations. It's well-deserved.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank all the older kids on my team, my coaches, and my family for helping me out through all this.
All right. Next up, we have our Defender of the Year, who he is not here. So the award winner for the Defender of the Year was Thomas Jefferson's A.J. Getsy. He had a cup game tonight, so unfortunately he couldn't be here. So what we will do is we'll jump right into our Goalkeeper of the Year when we come back. All right, we are back with our boys' Goalkeeper of the Year, TJ Watson from Bell Vernon area. TJ, congratulations.
Thank you.
The first thing I want to ask you about is, as a goalkeeper, with the realignment, you add TJ to your section. In the section games you would already be playing, how difficult but fun was it getting through the section season this year?
It was definitely fun to play as a team, that's for sure. And just adding TJ, that just made it even more fun, made it a lot more competitive. And it was a tough section, but we got through, ended up being section champions, so that was pretty good.
How cool was it? Sorry, I don't mean to step on you. But
no, good.
How cool is it getting to repeat as section champions again, knowing how much tougher the section was?
It was definitely cool, especially to do it my senior year. That was one of my goals for this year. So I was definitely proud of myself and the team, and definitely Coach Rob for going back to back. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
What was it like for you to be able to play behind that defensive unit? You obviously, like Jeremy mentioned, it's a tough section. You got to rely on those guys in front of you. But what was it like to be able to play with those guys?
Well, I think we had a very experienced group with Austin Martin and Sam Desai, the two seniors, and then Preston Hunt would switch in as well, another senior. So we definitely had a very old defensive back. And I played with all those guys for most of my soccer career, so we all knew how we played and everything, so we just meshed together really well. So
right. I don't want to bring up a bad thing, but the final game against Indiana, when you lose in the penalty kicks, obviously the pictures of you after the game were just devastating. They were great photos, though, don't get me wrong, but looking back on it, though, there were a couple moments in that game before you went to the penalty kicks that you just made some outstanding saves. Can you look back on it now and just be like, wow, what a game that was?
I feel like we all had a great game. One thing I definitely think of was Daniel Sassak's his goal. That was an amazing goal. I can definitely say that. But we all played really good together that game, and unfortunately we just couldn't come out on top.
Is that kind of unfortunate, because sometimes that's the way soccer is. You guys had so many chances, and you're looking at the far end, and you could actually see, how close those chances were to find in the back of the net. Is it kind of just a little frustrating? But it's why soccer is soccer.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a little frustrating, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if they can't get it done, then like as a team, we're just not going to get it done. I mean, that's how it is. We got to get it done as a team. So, I mean.
How would you kind of describe the last 4 years and kind of where you started from as a freshman to now finishing your career and winning this award as the top goalkeeper really in the area?
Well, definitely my freshman year, Rob Mealy definitely made a very good choice not to start me as varsity goalie. That was a good choice because I was not ready. But even going into sophomore year, I didn't have any varsity experience at all, and I think that's why that actually led to me having such a good junior year, was because of that experience. And then senior year, I obviously just had to try to replicate that. So it was very fun over the past 4 years for sure.
Just something that we don't really know what it's like, just getting to go out there, play on the gold turf, and play for a coach like Coach Mealy. How special is it for you to get that opportunity, and how much are you going to miss that as you go on to your next endeavor?
I'm definitely going to miss that a lot. Like the gold field, like that's pretty much our trademark.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's so special. Like nobody else has that. Like I don't even know if anybody else has that in the state probably, but I mean, it's just a special thing to play on that gold turf, the beach. I mean, it's definitely special.
And you're going to get an opportunity to play at the next level, correct?
Yes.
How excited are you for that and that opportunity?
I'm very excited to step into my next 4 years. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to see what that's going to be like.
Right.
All right. Well, congratulations again on this award. Like I said, I've watched you over the last 3 seasons, and you did a great job. And honestly, it was only a matter of time, before you won one of these, especially, with the support you have from your teammates and the success you guys had. So, again, congratulations, and thanks for coming down.
All right. Thank you.
And next up, we will have our Boys Coach of the Year, and we'll get back to that as soon as we come back. We are back with our Fab 15 Boys Coach of the Year, Doug Finke from Elizabeth Forward. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
How cool was it to finally see your program start to reach the level you envisioned when you took over for Coach Mealy when he left for Bell Vernon, and to make it your own program?
Well, it was great for these boys to, have this success. As you said, we've kind of been building that program with Rob, 6 years ago to get to this point, from a team that has hardly won to now making the playoffs for a few years to finally getting that first playoff win and,
right.
The section title. These boys, it's just they've been putting in the work since that senior class came in 4 years ago with this goal in mind.
You mentioned that section title, first one in 22 years that you're able to win. You're able to do so many different things for the first time in quite some time that this program's been around. To be able to do that type of thing for the program, what do you think that does for the future of this program?
To me, it's really just setting the foundation of this is what this community can do with the group of boys that we have. Success, breeds success. So with this moving forward, these kids should start to expect that this is what we're playing for every year. Mm-hmm. It's not something that will come around here or there. This is what the goal is each year, and that's what we'll fight for. With every group that comes out.
You mentioned this group of seniors that you have this year. The one thing every successful team has is balance. I mean, you have Andrew, you have Donovan, you have Ethan Bowser, then you have Robbie Hobrowski. I mean, you have such good balance. How much easier does that make your job when they're not only scoring, having the assist, and doing their jobs, but you could rely on them to lead as well?
It's huge, Starting, I think we had 7 seniors start for most of the year. It all started in the off season. They made sure to get guys together any chance they could. Whether it was on our backfield, to get there and just, hit shots, get out there, play a few 3v3s, making sure people were showing up to the winter sessions. And then even once, COVID hit, making sure guys were, getting their work in. They knew what this season could be, and so they weren't going to let anything kind of get in their way, and so they made sure to lead by not only, voicing it, but their examples as well.
your lone 2 losses of the regular season, middle of the year to South Park and Charleroi. What kind of turned things around for you guys after that? I mean, was it kind of just wanting, to go full speed ahead the rest of the year and kind of put that in the rearview mirror a little bit?
We kind of, look back as coaches as to what caused us to lose those 2 games. We didn't score. We lost both by 2-0 score lines. Had spurts of good play, but spurts where, we weren't. So we went back to the drawing board, looked, and, we made a few adjustments with personnel as to, I don't think we put anybody out of the lineup, but just where they played and how we were using them. And I think that, really kind of lit a fire under some of these guys, and it got them buying in, and they were excited to, show what they can do in those new roles.
Obviously, and you touched on it a little bit a minute ago, but in this new normal, so to speak, with COVID, what was the biggest challenge for you as a coach? Having to deal with that, trying to organize, still, like you mentioned, trying to make sure kids were still doing what they needed to do.
It's kind of not having the pulse of what was going on. In the winters and spring, you feel like even if you're getting together with them once a week, you still have a good idea what's going on with these kids.
Right.
Are they doing what they should be doing? How are they, just handling things? And not, you do your Zoom calls, you do your things to try and stay in touch, but that was probably the hardest thing, is making sure they're keeping up on things and just how they were doing as as individuals.
You mentioned the senior class, like guys like Andrew Smith and Donovan, Robbie. To be able to kind of do this and have this type of success with those guys that you've been coaching since the beginning of their high school careers. I mean, what did that mean to you as a coach to be able to do it with this group?
It means a lot. I mean, we've grown these last 4 years together. We all kind of came in saying, hey, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to achieve. And we all, all those boys, they've bought into what I've taught. We've grown as a group. I mean, being with a group for 4 years like that, you create special bonds with them.
Right.
Just the last thing, the first question I want to ask you is how nice it was to get that first playoff win, make it to the semifinals. But I kind of want to gauge your temperature on, do you think this is something the WPIL should do and let these teams that are higher seeds get to play on their home field, as to make it feel like as if they earned that right to do?
I tell you, we loved it. I mean, being a AA school, and Coach DeCooley can attest to this, is you play and you win 12, 13, 14 games. You win your section. Well, now you got to go play at Norwin,
right,
and they're
right,
getting a home game,
right,
but you got to go play at a neutral site. So being able to play a home game, it's great for the kids. I mean, it's something extra to look forward to, and I hope they kind of revisit this and say, look, this is something we can do. And even this year, I was actually surprised that they didn't pair us up with the girls on a Saturday at our place.
Right.
And there's enough programs out there where you got both programs making it.
Right.
And I know they try and keep boys on one day, girls on another, but just for community aspect, that
right,
revisit something like that and have 2 teams play on one day, it would be nice.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's all I got for you. Thank you again for being so cooperative with us, sending in your scores religiously. We always knew we could count on you to do that, and congratulations on this award. It's well-deserved, and your peers thought very highly of the job you did this year.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the coverage. I know I appreciate it, and the boys appreciate it as well.
All right. We'll be right back with our Boys Leadership Award winner. All right, we're back with our Boys Leadership Award winner, Bell Vernon area's Daniel Sassak. Daniel, congratulations.
Thank you.
2 section titles in a row. You're one of the most prolific goal scorers already at Bell Vernon history. What more do you want to accomplish, as you move forward here into your senior year?
I want another section title and another playoff win. We lost first round, which is kind of disappointing. I think we could do better next year, and if we can make it to Highmark, it's just a dream to play there. So that's our main goal, but we have small things to achieve before that.
32 goals for you this year, Daniel. I believe 5 away from the single season record, I believe, set by Markello Podiakis. But to be able to, I believe you passed Coach Rob Mealy on the single season goal list. What was that like to be able to get past your coach?
I mean, I gave him credit for it. He kept me in a little bit longer than he could have. I mean, whenever I broke the most goals in a game with 6, he had 5. As soon as I got off the field, I thanked him for keeping me in, because a lot of coaches would have took me out so I couldn't break the record. But I made sure I said, Coach, thank you. I know, like, to break your record, it means a lot to me. Like, I'm sorry, but thank you for keeping me in.
He didn't try to, like, trip you on the sideline.
No.
How much does Coach Mealy, I mean, I can't grade him from my point of view as like a player's coach or a coach's coach, you know, but what's it like getting to play for him, and how much does he expect from you as a captain and a leader on the field?
He's easily the most organized coach I've ever had. Like, everything he sends out, it's always like, this is the schedule, this is what he expects. But he always expects the most, and he'll let you know if you're not doing what you could be. Like, he wants you to be as successful as you can. He pushes you as well as the rest of our coaches do.
How much did it help you to play with guys like Nick Nagy and Daniel Gordon, Tyler Kovach, like those guys that were able to be facilitators, and you were able to kind of return the favor as well?
It was great to get Nick back. We really needed him, losing 2 seniors last year, but big shoes to fill, which I think he did. But as soon as he got back, he just connected. His aggressiveness just blended right in with all of us, and we all pushed each other to do as well as we could. And I think we got most of the job done.
I know I asked TJ this too about what it's like to play in this section. I think, until the section got to the playoffs, it didn't seem all that great. But just how physical do you guys need to be every night when it comes down to a section game? I mean, between the games you've had with Trinity and TJ and Ringgold, it doesn't matter what the team's records are. Just what's it like to play in those kinds of games? And you guys seem to have the perfect formula in the guys, like, we mentioned Tyler Kovach and the way Nick plays, bringing that hockey mentality, and, and as physical as you are as a player, like, what's it like getting to play that style?
We just got to be ready every single night, every game, no matter what team it is. We have to get up for it. I know Ringgold wasn't as good as they usually are, but we knew that they'll be as physical as they always are, no matter how good or how bad they were. And we beat them both times. We swept them this season as well as last season. It's just a couple of times we just got to get up for the games that the teams aren't as good. Sometimes we slack off and play to their level. So next season we definitely got to improve on that.
After the last 2 years that you guys have had where you've been able to win those section championships, what's kind of the biggest thing that you guys have learned as a team? You got those, the section titles, you crossed those goals off your to-do list, but you want to have that playoff success.
None of it happens unless we play as a team. We can't do anything individual. We like to keep it 2 to 3 touches. That's what we play our best at. But in the playoffs, we have to keep the same mentality, same focus, same physicality, and just get it back next year.
After the loss to Indiana in the first round, how much does that motivate you, not only as a player but as a leader for this team going forward, for what you expect in your senior season?
Motivates me a lot. Once we get there next year, as long as we do, we'll know that, like, we'll look back and say we can't lose first round again. Like, we got to know what happened last year, improve on that, move to the second round, and hopefully go as far as we can next year.
How eager are you guys to get another opportunity at Trinity? I know the last 2 years you split the season series, but how kind of excited and eager are you guys to get back at them, next year?
Yeah, we were really bummed out with it. We lost to them again this year, 2-1 though. But we'll definitely be ready for it next year. Last 2 years we came in 11-0 and 10-0 and lost at their place. So definitely next year we'll know that, like, this is where we go down at. We got to get up this time and be ready and win it.
All right. Well, again, congratulations for this award. Again, it was more than just Coach Mealy nominated you. So is it nice to kind of see where other people that either you play against or, that just read about you in the paper, they kind of recognize the job you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go out in public and I hear some like older people, they'll just say, I read about you in the paper, congratulations, like, keep it up. And it means a lot just to see people reading about me and know what I'm doing.
All right, man. Well, again, congratulations, and it's well-deserved. And, I'm sure we'll see you back here in some aspect next year.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with our final award of the night, the Boys Player of the Year. All right, we are back for our final award of the evening, our boys Fab 15 Player of the Year, Eben McIntyre from Charleroi. Eben, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Eben, I got to know, what you go into these games, do you have a number? Yeah, I'm going to put up this much tonight, like this much one night.
No.
No?
At the beginning of the season, yeah, I would try to do that, but it wasn't working out really well. And finally, like about halfway through the year, my coach just sat me down at halftime. He was like, "You're worried too much about record, the numbers, the newspaper, all that." And I stopped, and I started scoring more.
It became more of a business-like mentality every time you step out there.
Yeah.
7 goals in a game. Did you kind of have a number on that one, or?
No, I didn't even know I didn't know that was the record.
Yeah.
And I scored 4 pretty quick in the first half, and then my coach took me out and he said, "You're 3 away from the single game record. We'll leave you in for as long as it takes, and then we'll take you out."
Mm-hmm.
So
to be able to score 43 goals in a season, leading the WPIAL, I mean, what does that mean to you, and what does it say about the work that you've put in over the last 3 years?
it means a lot to me because it's kind of like Cullen the last 2 years was always up there, so I wanted to make sure our school's name was still up at the top and people know that even though we lost a lot of seniors that we're still here and we're still good. And I want to thank my teammates because obviously I wouldn't be able to put up the numbers I do every night without great people giving me the ball and great people holding it down on defense.
You mentioned with everybody that was gone from last year, do you think you guys were kind of slept on a little bit, that everybody's like, oh, Charleroi ain't going to be any good now because all those kids are kind of left, and did you kind of feel maybe a little bit of disrespect a little bit early in the season?
Yeah, for sure. I know a couple teams were saying those exact things, and every night before we went out I'd say to my boys, like, remember who was talking, who said we weren't going to win the section this year.
He was going to ring your bell.
Yeah,
It did happen. Someone did actually say
Somebody did say they were going to ring the bell. That did happen.
It's a shame.
Over the last 3 or 2 years before this year, you learned from guys like Cullen, Nick Lasky, Jace Kepich. How did that kind of help you prepare for this year, where you were kind of counted upon to be that leader? Even though you're just a junior, you still have a whole other year left. You were really relied upon to be that leader on this team.
Yeah, it was great to be able to watch all those players and learn how to be a leader, because now this year we really had a fresh team and somebody had to step up and be the leader and teach them how to do it coming up from middle school. And I think me and my other captains did a pretty good job of leading the team,
especially with it being such a young group. I mean, that was definitely important for you guys to have that type of thing.
Yeah.
We talked to some of the other players tonight just about what it's like, having to deal with COVID. But part of your success comes into how much work you've put in. I've seen the videos you post, working in the backyard and working, just at home and doing your workouts, make sure you get it in. How important is that, and how much more do you want to ramp that up heading into your final year of high school?
That's very important, because when we were all locked down inside, there was 2 options. I could have just done my schoolwork and just sat on video games or whatever, like a lot of other kids, or I could have used the time to better myself, and that's what I did, whether it was working out 2 or 3 times a day just in my house, or I have a really good friend that's a professional. He plays down in Tulsa. I'd get on Zoom calls with him and do his workouts, and that's how I just thought, like, I'm not going to be better than everybody else just sitting here. So, and I'm going to need to do the same thing if I want to have a better year next year.
I know that Avonworth loss was a heartbreaker for you guys. How do you guys kind of learn from that going into next year, your senior year? Obviously, you want to finish, on a good note.
We just need to learn that once it comes to playoffs, it doesn't matter what number is before any school's name. Anyone can be beaten, and we were really proud of what we did in the regular season, coming in as the 4th seed in 2A. It was really a big moment for us because we have never really been that high except for my freshman year. And we were all confident, and we just didn't finish the game strong enough after we went up.
How cool was it this year? You obviously got to play with your brother, and now you're both going to be back next year. Obviously, he'll be a little bit bigger, stronger, as a sophomore, and getting that experience to play with him on the same team.
It's great to be on the same team as my brother. He assisted a lot of my goals this year, and I've never really been able to play with him before this, so we were excited. That was like one of the big things for me this year, finally being able to play with him, and it was good. And he's definitely going to be a key part of our team next year.
How did kind of, playing with him in the past and just, whether you play in the backyard or something like that, like how did that kind of help you guys come into this year? Did it kind of ease him into the high school, game as well?
Yeah, well, with that, we've always like practiced together and stuff, but I mean, he was playing with all of his friends from last year from middle school, and I feel like that really helped the team because they already had a bond coming in, and then it was easy with the other group we had that was already in high school. We just bonded together, and we were really strong this year together.
Knowing after you lost that great group of seniors that you had last year, you knew you had to be a leader on this team this year. Coming back with your experience and how young the team was going to be, how much did Coach DeColley rely on you to be that leader, and how much have you learned by watching him coach and watching the coaches coach and those guys ahead of you?
Well, he told me as soon as it started that this was my team now, and obviously we lost all the great players from last year, but I knew I had to come in and do what they did. You can't be, when you have freshmen coming in, so many, you can't be so hard on them because it'll drive them away from the game. So you have to get your point across. This is what Coach DeColley does. You have to get your point across firm, but you can't just yell at them all the time, or it just brings down their confidence.
All right.
That's all we got for you, Eb. Again, congratulations, and we look forward to the numbers you're going to put up next year and the success of your team. So congratulations. It's well-deserved.
Thank you very much.
All right, and now everybody is waiting for the Fab 15 first team list, and we'll get to that as well as the second team and honorable mentions.
All right, and that's a look at our first team All-Stars for 2020. And Jeremy, I want to start this out by pointing out 4 Elizabeth Forward kids on the first team.
Absolutely.
Testament to what they were able to do. Of course, a semifinal appearance, first section title in 22 years. They beat South Park for the first time in quite a few years. But Andrew Smith, Robert Bosky, Donovan Wojcik, and Austin Onifray, their goalkeeper, those guys really stood out to me. A great year for those 3 forwards. Really, all 3 were just very good at complementing each other.
Right.
As the season went on, they continued to get better. Kind of overcame those 2 losses in the middle of the season. Those 3 were their big offensive weapons.
Right, and for me, the player that really stood out was Nick Nagy from Bell Vernon. Daniel mentioned it during his interview, how much that meant to that team that he returned. Obviously, he's a standout hockey player. I think I did a story on him a couple years ago. He won a national championship with an overtime goal or something. But we talked about, too, Bell Vernon's physical style and how you have to play that in that section, and he brought that hockey mentality. He was 100 miles an hour the whole time, and that's what they needed. Like Daniel said, he filled a hole that they needed to fill, and he filled it perfectly. He was aggressive. He's a scrapper, and he always seemed to come up with a 50-50 ball on his foot.
And he was probably one of the more clutch performers that we've had in the Valley. I think we had a couple game winners, correct, in overtime this year?
The one that sticks out to me is the TJ game early in the season, for sure. Which, they don't win that game, they don't win another section title for Coach Mealy and the Leps. So
absolutely.
That's what really stood out for me.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at our second team.
And there you have it, our second team All-Stars for the Fab 15 boys. And Jeremy, 2 Ringgold guys on this list.
Right.
Shane Seiler, Tyler Davis. I know it wasn't the season. 3 Ringgold guys. Jeremy Mullen as well. My apologies. Zach Alvarez was also a honorable mention. I know it wasn't the season that Ringgold wanted this year, under a first-year coach. But, you know, they did have some success. They had some guys who were able to come up in clutch situations. Shane Seiler was probably one of their best players.
Right.
He really stands out. Also, Tyler Davis, a great year for him. Jeremy Mullen, over the last couple of years, he's really been one of the better goalkeepers in the league. I know that's going to be a huge void for the Rams to fill, but these Ringgold guys, nice to give them some recognition.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Mullen. He faced a ton of shots this year.
Yeah.
The Rams weren't quite as experienced as they were the last few years, so you know, there were games where he got peppered with shots and he made some spectacular saves, so well deserving for him to be on the second team. And I know I mentioned it in the first team, I focused on Bell Vernon a little bit, but the one that stands out for me here is Daniel Gordon. Cheeks is one of those players where you hate to play against. He's just all over the field. He's like that fly at a picnic that just will not go away. You know, he knows how to get into your head. We see that on the basketball court as well. You know, he'll go by. He might give you a little tug on the jersey just to irritate you.
Yeah.
And that's what he does, but he does it so well. So again, for him, you know, making the second team, you know, it's well deserved. And you know, we talk about that physical style that Bell Vernon plays, and you know, he's just a pest out there, and you know, he does what Rob Mealy wants him to do.
Right. While we're sitting in the press box, we enjoy the way he plays, though. He
Absolutely.
plays with
no matter what
fire.
the sport.
Yeah, he's exciting to watch, and like you said, definitely well deserved.
Right. So hey, that's our first show in 2 years.
Show in 2 years. I think it went pretty well.
I think it went well. Of course, we want to send a thank you to MVI Live director Chad Corrado for his help in setting this up behind the scenes. Thank you to B Graphics.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris Radzelon here in the Bell Vernon shop. Again, you know, the one message we have to get out, if you found yourself on these lists, please DM us at MVI_sports on Twitter. Send us your shirt sizes because B Graphics graciously donates the shirts. If you see the logos, that's the logo that'll be on the shirt this year. We went with the Carolina blue.
I like the Carolina
You're
blue.
wearing it. So, but yeah, so thank you again to B Graphics for everything they do.
Yeah, come shop at B Graphics. I mean, this is a great place. We love this place.
We do. We do love it. Thank you. I know your fiance is sitting over here. My family's at home.
Love you.
We spend a lot of time away from our families and significant others here to you know, do what we do and what we love to do. So thank you to them. Thank you to everybody at the Mon Valley Independent. Thank you again to all the coaches, all the players for being gracious, you know, cooperative, sending us your scores. I know we're kind of, you know, we're pained sometimes. We're always texting, calling, but we couldn't do what we do without your cooperation. So
not at all.
Thank you for everything you guys do. And it's hoop season now.
Yeah, and
so
don't forget to watch the Valley Sports Guys podcast.
Absolutely.
Every Sunday.
Absolutely.
On the Podbean app.
On Podbean. I know we tweet out the link all the time, so give us a like and give us a follow there. The numbers are rising, so it's awesome. We look forward to having more guests on there, so you never know who might show up. This weekend is our Salute to Service Veterans Day. We got a special guest coming in for that, so we're excited, and that's when everybody can find us next Sunday at Perked Up Cafe.
Meet us at Perked Up. Hope to see you there.
Thank you.